this.
All right.
I'm ready.
I think the first thing we need to do is introduce ourselves.
I think that's right. I'm Reynor Murphy.
Reynor Murphy. I'm Mathew Brown. We're gonna go ahead and give a film review of Midsommar today.
That's right.
Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah. So, how did you see this? Did you see it like opening weekend, like a couple weeks into release?
I actually saw it a couple weeks into release.
Mm-hmm.
I did rip it from the internet though, so I was never given the chance to see it in theaters, which I very much regret.
How dare you?
Sir, all my cinema friends, I'm sorry. My budget was pretty low at the time. I had to do what I had to do.
Sure.
Shame.
No. Okay. Alright, so I would agree with that. It's a big mistake because watching this movie with a crowd is so much fun. I saw it twice in theaters. The second time was when the director's cut was going around. I saw it down in the draft house here. And dude, like hearing the reactions of people, especially at the scene where they do where they're like jumping off of off the cliff.
Yes.
Like the sounds that people make, like oh my gosh, it was so much fun. William Jackson Harper's character, like when Pele mentions it, he's like, "You mean like a real one? Like are we actually gonna do the thing?" And he doesn't tell Danny or Christian what it is. It's like, and they're like, well, "That's annoying that they're not gonna tell us." And then it's like that second time watching it in the theater, you are like, oh man, this is gonna be good when people like see what this is.
One thing I found creepy about that, I couldn't understand why they did it, is Danny even asks him, she's like, is it like a bad thing? And he just kind of smirks, and he's like, got his head back.
Yeah.
I never understood that. It was like this sinister plot behind him all of a sudden. I was like, what?
No, I agree, because I think also he's like, they're not really gonna do it. There's no way.
That's true, he could be thinking that. That's very true.
And I mean, also, like, I love how the movie itself and the commune are like straight up about what's going to happen. Like, I love how when Haley's talking about like the cycles of like how they have like the 4 stages where it's like winter, fall, spring, summer, all that stuff.
Like, I think it's like 1 to 16, 17 to 32.
And he literally tells them like, he tells them straight up, just like that's what happens.
And they all laugh thinking it's like an old age joke. Yeah, it's awesome. It's so funny.
Which that's kind of what's great about this movie. It's like it's dark, but also it's very funny.
It is.
It's a very dark, twisted sense of humor.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts in terms of comedy was Will Poulter's character. Just the vape. It was such an American thing. Just in the middle, and he's just blowing this huge vape in this like old Swedish tradition.
No, I agree. That's one of my favorite like details about that character is that he's just
the vape. Yeah. Or even like the first thing he says when they get out of the car, he's like, "Dude, do you not see how many bugs are here?" He just immediately. It's like your typical American is like the part.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so funny. Down to him pissing on the tree going, who cares? He's like, so what? I didn't know. Yeah, that's such a, he didn't even say sorry. He's just like, so what? It's just like,
you read all my answers. Like, what are you talking about? It's a tree.
He's like, it's dead. Yeah.
Which once again goes back to like, none of these people are taking it seriously. It's right. Ultimately, which is fun. It's a fun movie, I would say. It's like very Willy Wonka-esque, like older classic, like Warner Brothers movies. Obviously, like, Aster, when he was doing the promotional tour, he was like, this is the Wizard of Oz for perverts, which is hell of a way to describe your movie. Great setup.
I hate to say it, but that would intrigue me. I'd be like, okay, I'll watch that for a second.
You're buying multiple tickets.
Yeah. So don't judge us for that, okay?
So I guess we just start at the beginning. Which...
We can start right at the beginning.
I think, killer of an opening. Like, especially, like, for just the setup of the movie, obviously we're going from winter to summer. Like I think that's just like a nice little thing. Like you could have just done like who cares what season, but like how visibly like it's snowing the whole time.
Right,
okay. And like I said, just what a way to open a movie with just like having your character at her lowest point, something truly horrifying and shocking that sets up the rest of the movie and puts this character in a position where she needs support and she doesn't need it. She needs it. She doesn't have it from her boyfriend or anyone else around her, and then leaves the rest of the movie.
Yeah, no, there's honestly, I feel like there's a whole bunch to take in at the very beginning.
100%.
One of the things I love right at the beginning is first of all, how the first like 9 shots are just stills, and just with the ring, it just goes. I just love how it just sets that tone. But then the big one for me is the first like that jump thing, because that seems to be the only real like time where they try to scare you. It's like they have a couple jump cuts,
like the phone call.
The phone call. You're just sitting there and it's this like oh, and it's just a super loud ring. You're like whoa.
No, I forgot that. It got me yesterday.
I was like, dude, I wasn't ready for that.
And plus, we got to talk about that opening inaugural that is just the plot of the movie. Once again,
and it just
really straight up.
Like it's so cool.
It really. Every movie should start like that.
Just give you the whole plot.
Honestly, I was really sad that they didn't close it at the end. Like I thought it was a nice little detail.
That's true.
But also, you want to end on big old fire in Florence from space, so I get that.
Both go well.
Which, speaking of that face and her performance, she's incredible in this movie. She's so good.
Strongest acting performance, I believe, throughout. In my opinion, strongest acting performance in the whole movie, followed by, surprisingly to me, the person who plays Pele. It's like Wilhelm, I can't remember his last name.
He's really good.
It really drives the story if you pay attention to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's basically like the Willy Wonka for their crew. It's like crew, which he's definitely not a show. He has Willy Wonka. He doesn't have a purple suit, which is upsetting. But
I mean, he's got the head rig.
Oh my god! It made me laugh so hard when I first saw it. But no, he gives a really solid performance. I agree. Especially like that scene where he, after the cliff scene, where he like goes to comfort Danny. He's like, "No, I know what you've been through and everything." Like, but like, it's a really good scene.
Yes.
And like, it's funny because like it's a role that you're not necessarily thinking that he's playing, but the way that Aster talks about this movie, it was inspired by a breakup that he had.
Yes, that's
and
true.
He talks about that he wrote this like a rom-com, where it's like this girl, she's with the guy who doesn't treat her right, and then this guy comes along who shows her like a whole new world, and it's great, and then they not necessarily get together at the end, but like obviously she makes a choice at the end to where Jack Reynor is not the picture anymore.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah. Like the beginning, I mean, truly like comes straight out of the gate. I mean, the scene where she's just breaking down on Jack Raynor's lap is insane.
You know what a scene is really powerful to me? Is the scene that happens right after she finds out about them going at the party. Mm-hmm. Something that really resonated with me was the desperation in her. Because she just wanted to talk to Christian and this and that, and he tried to leave. And when he would try to leave, how desperately she had to like grab him and hold on to him. Yeah. That broke my heart because like, I've seen that before. Mm-hmm. I have seen that, and that's really heartbreaking to like, especially because Christian was kind of such an a-hole. It's like, it's truly such a desperate hold on. Like she just needs somebody. Literally, and it's ironic that you brought up the scene about after the cliff jump, because it feels like that same scene almost reversed, because now she wants to leave, and he's like comforting her and keeping her there. Yeah. I just kind of had that thought as you were saying it, how like it's almost like a complete role reversal as that happens, and it gives her that comfort she was looking for, and maybe that almost opened the door to when she starts like seeing the light. Well, I mean, that's the whole movie is her like finding that support system with the commune. 100%. Like that's why I think so many people find the ending like so powerful. It's just because like, oh, she finally got it. Like, I love one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think probably my favorite is after she sees Christian having sex with the redheaded girl, and then the whole like group of girls like surrounds her and they cry over her. Yeah. Like, so beautiful. Okay, so I guess the next part is just them going, pretty much, right? Yeah. Like, which the cool part, what I really love is that transition of getting it's. I was telling this to my girlfriend when we were watching it. I was like, do you realize how much information was just given to you? How much time was just passed and how simply they did it? Instead of all this la la la, she just says, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom, breaks down crying. Mid walking through the door, boom, you're on the airplane and she's crying. It immediately shows you where she's at and how crazy this scene is. Yeah. Oh, it's so powerful, man. There's also
it's not going to get talked as much because that is such a great showy kind of like transition there.
Sure.
But what I love, another shot on the airplane that I love is when she sits back down and it just zooms in on the window and it goes out like really it's some obvious stuff, but like showing like she's going through like on the ads, like right now she's calm, but on the like actually what's happening is like we're 30,000 feet in the air. This is crazy. Like what's that? Like oh my god, this is crazy.
It has that like
it's so fun.
It's awesome.
Which I think like the next little sequence is where he's really getting showy with his like directing because you have like the flipping of the camera like as they're driving and kind of like that, which is so cool.
Really cool. He I found out too. Well, this comes a little bit later on, but you know that drone above scene where they're walking, that's direct homage to The Shining, the opening of The Shining. That's where he actually took that from, which is Stanley Kubrick is my idol. Stick around and you'll find out how much I feel about
it. But yeah, like there's so many like, I don't want to say obvious, but like there's so many like things that like, well of course you gotta do that. Like with them entering a new world, we have to do all this stuff that's like showing that, and like that shot is so good at doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then of course you have the mushroom scene, which is like so great. I love the like, I don't even know how to describe like how the camera or like the image is just like morphing all the time behind them.
Have you ever taken shrooms?
No.
From somebody who has, that is a very accurate representation.
Okay.
It's why when I saw it and how subtle it is, and it happens throughout a lot of the movie, which is interesting because it makes you realize that they trip like 4 or 5 times. It's like it really brings into this whole like, it's just such a subtle and unique way to like describe like, okay, they're still tripping, and because most trip scenes, you think like, Fear and Self-Loathing Las Vegas, like, you get crazy, or just, there's a lot of trip scenes out there, but this one was so subtle, and it's like, man, it's beautiful.
I love the whole, like, Danny, when she's tripping, like, she's, like, melding with nature, like, the grass growing out of her hand, and later she has, like, the grass growing on, like, her feet and stuff like that, like, that's such a cool little detail. You get to see some nice comedic chops from Poulter, but I also think it's just great in this movie. Like, he's so funny throughout it. His whole just like, everybody lie down.
Yeah, I love that. He's like, all right, lie down, please. Yeah, that's so fun.
I'm freaking out. What time is it? It's 9 p.m. What?
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Sky is blue. And then I love, like, another homage to, like, a fairy tale movie is, like, her, like, running through the forest after she, like, sees her sister in the mirror, and, like, her face is morphing in the mirror, like, and she does a little scary forest run, which is always open and nice. Like, I like that stuff a lot. There's, like, a lot of really nice little, like, nods to, like, fairy tale movies, especially during when they're, like, just first starting to go to the commune. Like I said, like, the scary forest run, and, like, Snow White, she's going to meet the Zendors and everything. And then, like, there are little yellow flowers across the, like, whole path to get to, like, the main section of the commune and everything like that, which is, like, a yellow brick road thing, I thought, and, like, it's just super well designed, this movie. Ari Aster's really great at details. Like, Hereditary has that. Like, I'm sure he had a main character who makes miniatures for a living. Like, guy's super detail-oriented.
Which is awesome. Another step of details is like all the little pins on the walls and the house where, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like where like they approved of him to mate with Mia, or is it Maya? I think it was Maya.
Something like that.
Yeah. The redhead.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you brought up the statues in Hereditary, because just like in Midsommar, it's like a theme with Ari, is where he basically shows you everything that happens in a movie before it happens. He shows there's pictures in the background, there's those figures. It shows
he opens the movie with it.
He goes, "There's the movie, now watch it." It's very bold, but like it's so uniquely done, and I've never seen anything like it. Personally, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, even like in the scene we're talking about where they first get to commune, like there's the whole like little like quilt painting kind of thing where it's like it's showing the girl like feeding
when he goes, "A little love story."
Yeah.
That is so. Dude, I love when he says that. It's a love story.
Well, that's again, these people are so straight up. They're so matter of fact about it. Like even like the bear, they're just like, it's a bear. Like, what do you want to say? It's a bear.
It's so bizarre.
Oh, I agree. I love the performances that the people of the village give. So good, like really great at getting you into this world. Pele's brother Ingmar is great. Like I love the whole like relationship he has with Simon and Connie. He's like, I was dating Connie before Simon. Oh yeah. And he's just like, no, you weren't.
She was like, we dated once. I didn't even know it was a date.
And it's just like, oh, you're right. Me and Connie were just beginning to be friends. And it's just like, I can't wait to kill you later.
That's so awesome. Let me find our guy real quick. What's his name?
Character's name is Ingmar.
Yeah. Ingmar. Looks like Ingmar doesn't want to show up.
Alright.
Well, now you win some, you lose some, guys.
No, that's fine.
We'll find you, buddy.
Yes, so we get Connie and they start to do some of the more expositional stuff, like the stages of life leading up to the cliff scene, which I love all the ceremony of it. I love how like when do we sit down, when it is right to sit, and like I love the ceremony of it, especially because you feel like, I mean, we know what movie we're paying to see. We know we're going to a horror movie. Like, what's gonna happen? Like we're building up to something. I think that build-up of tension is so great.
What I like about that, I agree that there's that build-up of tension, but for me, it was almost the exact opposite. It was like, what made that scene creepy is I felt like I knew what was going to happen the whole time.
Exactly.
Like, I felt like for 20 minutes, I knew that those two people were going to jump off that. It felt like somebody like slowly drowning you. Instead of like a quick, it's like, yeah, you know these people are about to kill themselves. Now watch it slowly happen. And you just can't take your eyes off because you're like, man, they're actually going to do that.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's that thing where this movie is really straight up. It's like, because the first shot when you get to like that scene is like, the guy holding the big hammer. And it's like, what are they going to do with that hammer? I know what they're going to do with that hammer.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, shit, I think I know exactly what
even like right before they jump, there's like an insert shot of this like one of the people just like looking back at the camera. Just like, watch this shit.
I thought that was interesting that he acknowledged the camera that one time.
And he's just like, we're about to see some crazy shit. Watch this.
Very. One thing I noticed too that they do throughout the whole movie in terms of cinematography, which is really cool, which it kind of gives you that feeling of like how out of this world and crazy it is there's slow pullouts all the time. It'll just start right there and it just slowly, like, I love when they get to the top of the mountain and as they're walking them up with the chairs and it just slowly pulls out. It's so, I don't know, it just gives you that feel of like reality slowly being pulled away from you or something. I don't know if that was what he was going for, but that's what it did to me. It made me definitely like, it just kept making this more bizarre and bizarre and bizarre.
I agree. Well, I mean, even they're like, in the same kind of vein, like there's so many like good pans, like revealing more stuff that's happening. Like one of my favorite moments in the movie that makes me laugh a lot is like when they first get there, they're panning over and you hear like the score and it's like, like it's flutes and stuff like that, and then you hear actually people playing it. And I was like, that's a good bit.
Speaking on that, that's one of the things again that was super unique. Most of the score of this movie is happening in real time.
Yeah.
It's not something superimposed over the top to make it scary. It's literally these people playing the flute, people humming outside.
You'll always see like a couple of people in the background with instruments.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's so awesome.
Yeah, and once it comes back to that detail thing, it's like, nah, this is all its own world. Like it feels super lived in, which I think is why this movie works so well. Is because it feels like there's so much history here.
Yeah.
And why something like the vape pen really feels out of place. And like another moment where like, I love when they're like in like the space where they're sleeping, and then just one person comes in and like, the kids are watching Austin Powers. If you guys want to come in here, like I love that Austin Powers made it.
That was so
Swedish Murder Call.
I didn't understand that bit because I was like, "Where's their TV? Who's watching Austin Powers?"
exactly. That's why it's so fun. Like, it's just like, remember, we're still, like, in our world. This is not a fantasy. Like, I think it's just, like, that thing to break it, like, a little bit. Just, like, remember, we're still in the real world, but there's some crazy stuff that's, like, going on.
Fair. Okay. One thing I appreciated, too, is and I appreciate this through most directors that do this, I love, a lot of the dialogue scenes, like, I'll give you an example. There's the scene in the room where Danny actually comes in and the guys are all talking about, the trip. They just invited her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Invited her.
Yeah. But Jack Reynor's even like, she's not going to come.
Yeah.
Like, even he's just like, she's invited, but there's no way. Like, once again, he's just the worst.
He is, and I think it's funny, I'll go back to my other point in a sec, but I think it's interesting that same scene I'm talking about, when he's explaining all of that, they never show him.
Mm-hmm.
They never show his face, and it's like,
what's interesting is, like, he's in the mirror. Like,
yeah, it's a TV reflection, yeah.
Like, there's so many, like, I don't know why it's just in the beginning. There's a little bit of it towards the end, but there's a lot of, like, shots of, like, the mirror, so you can have both at the same time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, this is a movie about relationships, so I mean, that makes sense why he would do that, especially with how bad the Christian Danny relationship is. Like, the man forgets his birthday, like...
Anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he kind of sucks. He sucks as a person, though. He takes the guy's thesis. Like, he's just like a real piece of shit.
Yeah. Like, what I find interesting, like, going back to the cliff scene, like, when the first fall happens, the next shot is just Danny isolated. Like, there's no one around her, like, it's just zoomed in on her, everything else is out of focus. Like, meanwhile, you have the other two people who are in a relationship, Simon and Connie, like, they're like, oh my god, like, they're together, they're screaming, like, they're present for each other.
Sure, of course.
Very extreme, crazy moment. And Danny, who has just gone through an extremely traumatic event where her sister killed herself and her two parents, who you would think that her boyfriend would think, oh, this is probably really upsetting to her because, her sister committed suicide. Like, doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
out of the picture. Like, the worst. It's such a toxic relationship.
Yeah, he really is the worst. He plays it great because I just
sure
laughed throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, Reynor's great. It's just, also, another thing to talk about, the gore during the cliff scene, like the makeup and everything is so good.
And like the face and like, yeah, it's very,
it feels up on it. Yeah, well, the freaking leg break is brutal.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Everyone in the theater just goes, oh god, like, when you just see it.
Yeah. And then what makes it creepy too is how they're all screaming, waiting because they go bash his face in with the hammer, like, it's so, man.
Such a great, interesting, like, way to, like, show that community. Like, that's their main selling point, is that we're so supportive of each other. Even if we're not going through what you're going through, we are going to mimic what you were going through, so you feel like you are accepted.
They scream at the end when they're getting burned.
Yeah. It's such a fantastic idea.
I love how they do it when they cut right back, and it's like back to back, where they show them crying and they're all crying together, and then they cut over to him having sex and they're all moaning together. Yeah. It's such a bizarre thing, but it's like, it's so well done. Yeah, it's so well done. I mean, for a guy who's only got, I know he's got like 4 movies, I think, but he's got 2 big ones out.
Yeah.
He's on the right path, man. I'm gonna watch everything this guy puts out.
No, absolutely. I'm there opening night. So, the cliff, that happens. Something I want to bring up right now. Florence Pugh is a great crier. Like, she has such a great, like, talking about solid casting for this movie, she has such a great pouty face. I don't know if it's all performance or just, like, the way her face looks, but, like, she looks like she's going to cry in, like, 5 seconds every shot of the movie. Like, she looks like she's always on the verge of a breakdown.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She's always got that, like, just like sour sort of.
Just like she's just like holding something in the whole movie.
Definitely. I definitely feel that.
Another great line when Simon and Connie are freaking out. And freaking Ingmar just like, I'm sorry, I should have warned you better. Like, it's just like, what do you mean warned me better? You shouldn't have done it. Like, I love how the whole the thing that, like, the priestess lady says is like, did you not warn them about it? It's like, oh, no, I didn't tell them. Like, oh, you dropped the lead there, buddy. Like, that's the whole thing.
It's something inside me, though, because of the way everything else is so elaborately set up, I feel like it was almost done on purpose that, like, they didn't know that.
Oh, of course.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I even went as much to think that, like, because how perfectly it works out for Danny to be the perfect candidate, and the fact that she doesn't decide to go until days before, I got this like wild theory that like Pele I guess Pele, because I don't know who else would have been from the group, but like I don't think his sister killed herself and her parents, because it just seems like to fit too perfect. Now maybe that's just because it's a movie and it has to, it maybe, but like it's definitely a theory I have, because I don't know. I mean, it's just so interesting. I can't prove it, obviously. I'm gonna stick to it though. But it's just a thought that I was running with. Like,
well, I think it's a movie that like will let you have like multiple readings of it. There's so much detail everywhere. Like something I have here, because the scene after the cliff is that scene I was talking about earlier, where like Pele is comforting Dan and all that. Like when he talks about like how his parents died in a fire. Question I ask is, does that mean that like Pele's parents were like maybe volunteers to go on the big yellow pyramid thing?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. That makes sense.
Like, you know, there's like a lot of, like I said, this movie feels very lived in. It's so detailed. Bottom to top, every room you go into, there's a story that like has a little German expression and stuff going on. Like it has like these really weird diagonal roofs everywhere and stuff like that. Like so.
Yeah, the architecture is very interesting. The
Oh,
way
for sure.
they like design the buildings and their little commune.
I mean, costumes are great. Like, cannot say enough good things about the design of this movie.
You really can. Yeah, it gets 5 out of 5 for me.
Oh, for sure. So then, after that, we have You Pissed on the Ancestral Tree. Great sequence. Like, really, when we're finally getting into, like, the Willy Wonka part of the movie, where we're just, like, we're axing off people.
Yes. Yeah, it starts to get a little crazy from there.
Yeah, well, it's just, like, these things were, like, you know, a thing about their characters what screws them up in the end and everything like that. Obviously, Josh, since he gets a little too curious, he starts taking those pictures of the book.
Ends up being his demise.
Yeah. Obviously, the fact that Margaret's just like, I want to party, I don't give a shit about any of this, I just want to drink, I want to
hook up with girls.
Yeah.
That's why he goes, she's gonna go show me the thing.
Yeah.
That's what he said, that's his last line.
Yeah.
He's gonna go show me the thing, and he's just gone after that.
Well, it's just also this thing where just like, since they're out in the forest and no one else is around, like, they can do whatever the fuck they want to these people.
Yeah.
Like, I love there's a sequence where after like the whole Simon and Connie thing happens where like, oh yeah, he left. I'm like, he wouldn't do that. I was like, well, he did. So we're just like, they finally take Connie and you hear like a scream. You're just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, she's out. Like, let's see. Then we're starting to really get into the like, we've set up a lot now. We're about to have some fun. We're like, I think the next scene is where they are like eating that dinner, and like, her name is like Maya, or you know, something like that.
Right.
Where she feeds Christian the Pugh pie, which is
and
fun.
he has the blood in the drink.
Yeah.
Which I love how you can just tell it's a little bit darker than the rest of them.
See, like that's something I noticed finally this time. I was like, why is the only one that's weirdly colored? Yeah, that's right. Gosh, I mean, this is where we start seeing like that they skinned the fool Mark and they made a mask out of him, and it was insane.
I mean, very insane. What's insane is what they do to what is the guy's name? The one who you just said it. The guy who they said left without him. He was the British guy.
Simon.
Simon. They gave him a blood eagle.
Yeah.
That is the technical term for what they did to him with pulling his back up. That's an old Viking torture technique called the blood eagle.
I mean, plus he's still breathing. That's the most disturbing thing.
Yeah, the longer he is alive. Yeah, that's definitely the most disturbing.
I love all the like little like historical things that I'll throw in there, like that. Like obviously the whole skull was like a great little detail and everything like that when they was drinking and everything like that. let's see. Then we kind of get into like when Christian is stealing the thesis, which another great character detail. Like he's not just terrible to Danny, he's terrible to everybody.
He's literally just a worthless person. Not worthless, but I mean pretty much worthless.
He's a jerk. Like there's no question about it.
He takes somebody's. His thesis was supposed to be like this guy's like that's the whole reason they went over there is because it was what's the guy's name? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
The actor or the character?
The character.
The character's name is Josh.
Josh, there it is. Josh. That's like the whole reason this trip is happening because it's his thesis and stuff. And then just in the middle of it, Christian's like, "Hey, dude, I decided this is my thesis."
Yeah.
Like what? How is that acceptable?
Yeah.
That just.
Well, I think
oh man,
what's kind of fun, like you see, like that's the reason they went, but it's like, nah, Peleus had this thing going from the beginning because he's like, this is why I'm gonna go into the anthropology department because people are gonna like, oh, I want to go see that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because even that's why the two that get sacrificed at the end, he even says they sacrificed themselves when they left to go bring out people. That was why that they were the ones who had to sacrifice, which I found really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like. Yeah, like you said, it's like this has been like this long plot. And another little detail going back to that first scene is when they're talking about they're talking to Christian and he's like, dude, you know, go find a girl that actually likes to have sex. He's like, let's go, you know, we can go to Sweden and stuff. And he's like, you can find a girl to impregnate. And then Pele says, you're gonna
yeah.
Go ahead, say it.
Like, oh, there will be plenty of women for you to impregnate.
And after, because I had seen it the first time already, once I heard that line, I was like, oh, I was like, that's okay.
It's already happening. Just being like, straight up, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's very, I love the.
It's like Edgar Wright levels of just like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you the whole movie. Here it is, right there.
It's so bold.
It is.
So bold, and it works so well.
Especially for a horror movie, which, like, most of what a horror movie has is surprise and stuff like that. And, like, what he's just doing is like, nah, here it is. Here is all of it. Like, it's such an interesting way to do it. And I mean, even just, like, the idea of this movie. Like, Hereditary is a movie that is so steeped in darkness and plays with shadow so well.
Yeah.
One of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in a horror movie is just Toni Collette up on the ceiling, like in the way that he uses light to like slowly show you like her up there, stuff like that. To your next movie be completely set in daylight, that's such a great idea.
Yeah, none of the scenes happen at night.
No,
It's only
the beginning.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that until you just said that. But yeah, literally the whole thing is shot during the day.
Yeah. And when they're sleeping, it's not like it's dark outside. They gotta pull down the blinds and everything.
Oh, there is one night scene. Just when he goes to take pictures.
That's right.
But yes, other than that, the whole thing is shot during the day. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like the fact that it still works and it's still like deeply disturbing and horrifying throughout it while being set in the daytime is like kind of a miracle.
That to me is what makes it, that's part of the creepiness to it, I think, is because the way it's portrayed, that's what, exactly, the way it's like shot in the day and like the colors are bright and like, if you take away what's actually happening and you just go based off like the color and the feel of the movie, it feels happy.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's like, wow, this is, even down to the end, when she's smiling and watching it burn, it's like this light heaven-like look like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just going back to the score, like the score does a lot of heavy lifting too. It's just like a lot of flutes and it's just like nothing very menacing. Like,
so they play to welcome you in.
Yeah. It's just because these people this is all they know. Like, yeah, this is just what happens. Like every day on the street are like, oh, you wanted that. What are you talking about? It's like we sacrificed ourselves. Like you don't want to die. We're like, no, we're like happy to die. We're ready to sacrifice ourselves. Like
it goes to show how cult-like it is and how it's like logic is wiped out of the window.
Yeah.
Or not wiped out of the window. Let's learn how to speak English.
Yeah.
You know, it's thrown out the window.
Well, I think what's really interesting about the fact that like I don't even really think of this as a cult movie because they don't do a lot of like the work that a cult movie would do, like to explain the cult, like why they do the things they do or anything like that. Like it's just like, we have like 20 movies like this. We don't need to do any of that. Like you understand the concept.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, once again, it's like how the characters experience is just, they're just walking into it. Like,
speaking of character experiences, that was one of my favorite parts about the movie. It feels like every character experiences this journey so much differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the way Danny experiences it compared to Christian, compared to Will, compared to Josh, like, it's just so, it's night and day different for everyone. That was one of the things that was so, because I feel like he didn't try that hard to do that. It wasn't like an emphasis, but it just was. Somehow everything was so different. They experienced the same horrific events, but in such different ways.
I mean, even like the way that like Simon and Connie are on a completely different wavelength too. Like, they're screaming, they're like, we need to go.
Yeah, they were running out of here.
Yeah, and the other guys are just like, no, whatever. We're gonna stick it out.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens.
I mean, Will Poulter is even just like the one thing I don't go to. Really?
Yeah, it's like, you don't wake me up for that? That's so crazy.
It is.
He's such a crazy movie. He's like, dude, come on. How you the one thing you let me sleep through is what it says. It's so funny.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
That kind of leads us into the May Queen stuff, which is delightful. I love all this stuff so much. The dance itself is really fun. I love all the hallucinogenic things that happen during it. I think it's super fun. And then you cut back to like the conversation that Christian is having with the priestess lady about like, what do you think of mine?
Yeah.
Which I love. I wrote this line down. I think I ate one of her pubic hairs. That's probably right. That's like, there's so many facts about all of this. Yeah. I love that attitude that they all have about this. Like, it's just like, yeah, that's just how it's done. Yeah. Like, there's no like, it's all played straight. Like, it's so interesting.
I think it gives it such a real feeling though, because like they knew that they were going to go to something that was different, and so it's like they don't want to, disrespect this culture, and so it's like I think that's part of it. And plus, like, I'm thinking for myself. If I was put in a situation where you're literally out in the middle of nowhere like that, and even though I knew something was wrong,
you want to be very nice to those people.
Yeah, like I love how they cut from Josh's face from during the day, and then boom, to him sitting on his bed at night, because it just goes to show that like he realizes something's wrong, but he can't say anything because like, where are you gonna go right now? Yeah. So I just love how it just shows that.
The last people who tried to elect it didn't go well for them.
Yeah, and it explains. I love it. There's such a realness to that. I think.
No, absolutely.
One more thing too about the Mayflower Queen scene. It shows one of the biggest parts of that to me. It's a heavy part to me. At least for me, it was when they say the final 8, and you see Danny get all excited and laugh with the girls, and she doesn't even know what she's excited about. Yeah. She's not even sure what she's excited about. She just feels accepted in this community, and she's just like it's like it shows how the cult thing kicks in, because she's just like, oh my god, I'm being accepted, final 8, but like,
and I mean like,
finally to what?
Like, I mean, one of the like first times she's showing happiness throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, it's like uncontrollable. Like oh man, the way she even does it, because she like laughs, but then she like kind of stops herself, because she's like, wait, am I tripping?
That's what I like watching this movie after having seen it, because like the first time I saw this movie, I was so scared for her. I was like, I'm gonna make her jump off a cliff too. Yeah. Like I thought she was gonna be the one going into the friggin' fire pyramid, and I was like, they're gonna put her in there.
My girlfriend thought she was gonna be the one to get raped. I was like, well,
yeah. I was like very just like, I don't want her to win May Queen, and it's like, nah, you gotta win that May Queen. Like it's now a much more like powerful, like happier moment. Yes. Than it is when you're first watching. You're just like, she's gonna die.
Yeah, definitely gives you that feeling at the first time through, where you're like, with the unknown, you're like, considering how everything else is win. When you win, you don't really win. So yeah, definitely.
Going back to some of the hallucinogenic stuff, I love when they do get finally, like everyone's waving their hands. It has this really weird effect on all the hands. Like it's so strange, and I love the fact that Christian is so like in focus in that moment. Yeah. Like I think it's really cool. I love that she magically begins to speak Swedish fluently.
See, now I didn't look it up. Were they actually speaking Swedish?
I have no clue.
Because what I think
they're just high spot.
I think so too. Because I think she even says, "See, look, we're talking." She says like language or dancing doesn't need a language to speak. So for me, I interpreted that as they're literally just both tripping, and so like. Again, if you've ever tripped before, when you go on peaks, like you start to experience the same sort of like wavelengths, and I think that that's what was happening there, and it was just, and it was more of that again, trying to get her in there, just like, see, we're speaking the same language, but because I could be wrong, but I don't think that they were speaking Swedish at all.
Yeah, I mean that's right. I mean, personally, have you ever gotten so high that you became bilingual? Just
not recently, no.
Okay,
no, not recently, no.
That's fair. And then. One of my favorite parts of the movie, it like blew my mind in the movie theater when I first saw it. The breathing flowers are so cool.
Yes.
Like to see him go in and out. And
when she's sitting in the chair and it's happening behind her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And speaking of tripping and getting high, so I had a buddy who had not seen the movie. He and his girlfriend went on a trip to Denver or something like that, and they decided to rent it. And I think they took an edible right before, and they got to that scene and was like, what the fuck is happening? Is this the drugs or is this the movie? Right? Is this the drugs or is this the movie?
Yeah, you want to see that movie sober because it'll mess with your mind if not.
God, like it's like you said, like it really does some really great stuff in like trying to make the movie itself feel like it's on a high or something. Yeah, like that.
It makes it's because I mean, given what it is, how so out of this world it is, it just makes the whole movie feel like a trip.
Yeah.
And again, another little theory I have is that. And I'm probably entirely wrong, but I also have this like conviction that I don't think they ever came out of the first trip. I don't think they ever sobered up. I think that they might have sobered up a little bit, but I don't think they ever completely sobered up. I think that they got high. I think it's kind of this like rollover effect because
maybe like their Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah, because again, also if you've ever known anybody that's like gone on a drug binge. I haven't, but if you've ever known anyone, they'll be like, yeah, I kind of lost track of time, and like, I don't even remember the last like 4 days, and so it's like, that was something, and because like I said, they show that like, it's tripping the whole time, that was something that made me think, I was like, is this like one trip? Not that they didn't actually get killed and stuff, but like, I almost don't think they ever sobered up. I could be wrong, but it was definitely something that I had rolling through my mind a lot.
Well, you see, I think they definitely just kept plying with the drugs, so they might just be high the whole time. Yeah. It's like literally every 5 seconds, just like, here's some mushrooms.
I even think the food had drugs in it. They didn't say it, but it's just like, again, everything else had drugs. Given this is such a ceremonial thing, it's like I feel like they had to be high the whole time.
I mean, this is like literally like their time to party. So it's I'm not gonna be sober this whole time.
9 days once every 90 years, so like it's a big deal.
It's like super nice out. I get to wear my frock and everything. Like I'm psyched.
Psyched. Get to hollow out a bear.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun stuff.
Family fun, dude.
We're gonna have a big old bonfire.
Yeah. Bonding time.
Oh, for sure. So Danny wins May Queen, last person standing. Great stuff. She's like so happy about it. She gets this nice little crown, super cool. But then she sees her parents like walk by her.
Yeah. And she's like, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then now not everyone sees it on their first time. I didn't. I had to be shown it. But like, if you look in the trees, like on the shot where they're like carrying her, everything on the little thing, like you see her sister in the tube in the trees, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Oh my god.
Very creepy. Because we talked about this earlier. I saw it, but I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe it was just like the way the lighting looked. I was like, that totally looked like a face in the trees. And come to find out, it was deliberately put there.
Yeah.
It's very creepy. I love subtle things like that.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I mean, he's always thinking of new stuff to creep you out. Just like, here's your dead relative.
Yeah. Not trying to laugh at that.
Yeah, just for sure.
Said it.
No, sure. And then you also have Christian on a super bad trip. He's having a rough time. He said,
what's happening?
And then boom, and like the way it looks, like how everything like reverberates around him is so cool.
It's like, why did you do that? It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Plus, that man looks like he needs to poop real bad. Like that's the whole energy. It's just like he's holding something in.
Oh yeah, when he's doing yeah, he really from that point, once he starts to go down that trip of her doing the Mayflower, he never recovers after that.
Oh, absolutely not.
Do you think that they gave him something different in his
Different stuff that Danny had?
Yeah, because,
absolutely.
Because everyone else drank it, and he's like, I don't want to have a bad trip, and she's like, you won't, and nobody else had a bad trip. But then he, like I said, he never recovered after.
But like that's the thing, he's the only one who has it. Like a woman specifically goes over to him and is like, here's a joint.
That to him. Yeah, exactly.
Well, because I think what it is now, not to be crude, but I think it's probably just like fucking their Viagra. Like I think literally the whole time he just like has. That's why he's like holding like down there.
It could be.
Like I think he's just like that's what because they know what they're about to do. They're like you're about to go have sex with this woman and pregnant her and like a whole thing. So like I think it's pretty much off for that.
It could be. That's interesting. I haven't thought about that. That could totally be that. Though.
Yeah. Let's see. I love how some more little detail stuff like at the dinner table, like when Pele's like drawing a little picture, like that's moving all around. I think that's super cool. And so yeah, then we get to like one of the big set pieces is the whole like him having sex with the red-haired girl, which is so funny. Like once again, this is a very funny movie. Ari Aster was like, I love when the lady like comes down and starts singing and it's just
she grabs his face, and it like gets him to keep going. It shows how whacked out he is at that point. Because just like put yourself in that position, it's already weird enough. But if somebody came down and caressed your face and started, I would.
Then he needs some help. The old lady just starts pushing him from the back.
It's just get in there.
It's a crazy scene.
Oh, it's awesome.
Florence Pugh, man. One of the most beautiful women on the planet, if you ask me.
Clearly, Christian doesn't have the best judgment call, though.
Yeah, not great.
I think it's safe to say
that.
It's true.
Yeah, we all know that.
Safe to say he kind of makes poor judgment.
Absolutely. I mean, he sees the naked lady line up and he's just like, this is fine. I'm down with this.
Well, I think
I'm gonna walk in here.
I believe that stuff that they made him inhale was another like sedative, something to make him trip even harder. I feel like because you notice how they wouldn't breathe, they gave it to him and they closed it back up and gave it back. So I believe, like I said, he gets so whacked out at that point.
They give him like 5 different drugs in the span of like an hour. That man has had a rough time.
And then they just wake him up and they don't even say what they give him. They're just like, you can't talk and you can't move.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no other explanation. Just, okay, go back. Yeah. You just accept that. Just, okay.
Yeah. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, you have Danny doing like a nice little ritual to help with the crops. You got like some rice, some beef, some eggs. Looks like a nice 3-course little meal. You have like, I love how they have the whole like, just the ceremony itself, like them doing like the whole like reciting the thing.
And they walk or they spin.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, the absurdness of it. Like, eggs, I'm sure that, no disrespect, I'm sure there's probably like a reasoning he did that. I'm sure there's detail to it. But it just was so random. That's what it felt like to me, was like just more bizarreness of like, let's just pick some random stuff and act like that's what makes crops go or grow.
Then she comes back, and then they're trying to lead Danny away to some other place that they need to go to do some more May Queen stuff. It's like, what's going on over there? Nah, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. And of course she sees the naked lady line up and Christian cheating on her. Once again, very straight up about it. Just like, there it is. And then we have what I think is probably the best scene in the movie, where she breaks down and then the people around her start to support her in like that pain and that suffering and in that breakdown, which is so cool and so powerful.
It is. It's also interesting because like it feels like support, but it also feels really suffocating. Because like, I don't know, if you're ever like, I don't want to be around anybody right now, and they won't let you leave.
But like, she's been waiting for that the whole movie though. I agree with you.
That is true.
She's needed that support the whole movie. She's wanted someone to like meet her on her level and like actually be like supportive of her.
That is true.
Like, she needs those women to do that. Like, and especially like the way that Pele also like talks to her in that scene after the cliff. Like, she wants him to go away and everything. She wants to leave him. She's like, But he's like, no, this is a very supportive community. That's the sales pitch.
That's
how they get around.
Literally. And it's interesting in terms of just dialogue real quick. How many times the word family is said in the movie? It's very interesting. Like, he uses that word a lot because it's like the theme. She's looking for a family because it was ripped away in the most violent fashion right there at the beginning. Yeah. So it's like, that's what caused her to go on the bad trip, is when he goes, you guys are my family. And she sits up. And that's what he says. He goes, that's what triggers her to have the bad trips. He says, you guys are my family. Mm-hmm. And like, I just love how triggering the word, like, makes a powerful word anyway, but just like the use of it in this movie is so interesting. Because it's such a...
Everyone's brother and sister.
Yeah, he said, this is my family. I mean, that's the first thing he says when they get there. The emphasis on family is like, I love it.
Like, even when they first come in, like, Pele, like, sees like that, like, kind of elder guy, I guess. The first person you see is just like big old hug. It's like, oh, so that's his dad. It's like, no, just some guy. Like, he just lives there too. We just on really good terms.
Wait, what happened?
So like when Pele first comes into like the commune and everything like that, when they first get there, like everyone's in the frocks and everything. Like the main guy that's like, I forget like the name of the character, but like he's just like, like he takes off his hat. It's just like, I want to give you a big old hug. And he's just like, there's this like very sweet reunion, and you're just like, is this your dad? So I was like, nah.
Just guy.
Just a guy.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's like, he's my friend. Like, he's a mentor, like all that kind of stuff. So, the big old support scene, and then Jack Reynor, after it's finished and everything, I don't know if he really realizes what he's done, but like after he's just like, this is fucked up, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
He just runs out, and then we see Simon in full-on Blood Angel is what it was called.
Oh yeah, Blood Eagle. Blood Eagle.
Where it's just like super disturbing. He's got like flowers in his eyes. It's really upsetting. And then they give him one more final, just like, here's some more drugs. Just blow it in his face, and then he's out of commission for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And then we have just a great ending. Like, truly. So we get to have like this little like town hall meeting, like, okay, so we've got 5 of the dead people. They're all ready to go in there. We got our 2 volunteers, and then we got a little raffle going on, make it a little fun.
A little raffle. Yeah, they even got like the bingo, like B18.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, Danny, so you got a choice. Random guy, or dude who's put you through massive amounts of hell, just cheated on you. So who's going in the big old fire pyramid? She's just like, it's Christian. He's going in there.
Do they ever show her saying yes that it's him? I feel like...
No, but we know.
Well, yeah, but I love that they don't show it because it's like, it shows that she's not like maybe 100% like...
I mean, it's her last connection to the outside world.
Yeah, I mean, if she gives it all up, which she does, I mean, she's accepting this is her family, because like, I don't think Pele's supposed to be leaving anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure like...
I don't think she's going back.
I don't think so either. I don't even think she would know how to, and especially with that little smirk she gives at the end, I don't know. She's like, it shows that she's like, this is it, I accept this. Like, I'm happy with this.
Which, that's a question I wanted to ask, because it's been posed to me, and some of the people who aren't huge fans of this movie. Is Danny better off in the commune, or is it just another toxic relationship? Because definitely, obviously the Christian one is bad. But I think what isn't as kind of really thought of as much is like how the commune is also like kind of gaslighty. Like obviously they're kind of lying to them the whole time in certain aspects.
Sure. That's how they got him there.
Obviously there's the whole murder part. That's not great.
That's
No, it's a little, it's rough.
Sorry, just real quick. So how they're like they're murderers and stuff, but then when she asks about sitting on Simon's lap to go, like he's like there's only 2 spots in the truck. She's like, well, can I sit on his lap? He goes, we don't break traffic laws. That's what he's it just shows the like they're insane. Yeah, like you don't break traffic laws, but you do blood eagles. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's so bizarre.
Except that we didn't kill him.
Yeah, he just...
I mean, the pyramid just caught fire. We just left some fire in there and then it burned.
No. He could have got out if he wasn't sedated.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, because I mean, obviously the commune is not a great thing. It's bad.
Right.
But obviously she's going to get the support that she needs from them.
Sure, certainly.
Something that she wasn't going to get back home.
Right. So your question is it better that she stays there as opposed to going back to the real world?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question.
Because like that smile, are we happy for her, or is this like a turn to evil? I mean, obviously they show her in the fire and everything like that. Like that's something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think because of how desperate she was to have that, as messed up as those people are, I think that's like the better thing for her, in my opinion. Like obviously it's not right in terms of like, because like the murdering and all that, but
yeah.
I guess it's at the end of the day, like it's what's best for her, and I think that is what's best for her. I mean, going back to Christian, not going back to Christian, but there's literally nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
Nothing. The only other person outside of these people that she went with was that girl that she has a phone conversation with right there at the beginning about
and we do not even say.
Don't even know her name. We don't see her. I don't know who that is. And it's just like,
just literally a story device to be like, here's what Danny is thinking in these moments.
Yeah, that's all. Just the only reason that character is placed in there. So it just makes me feel like she really has nothing. So I would say it is. I think it is the best.
Okay.
I think so.
So I love how creepy like each person looks in the little pyramid. Like obviously you have Scarecrow, Will Poulter,
the tree people, and like the people who already killed themselves.
Yeah,
Jackson Harper.
Once again, the design of this movie is insane. Like you can tell like how much fun Aster had was just like, here's all these little things I'm gonna do, just like gold. It's great. And then we just have the shot of them all like screaming along with the people who are being burned alive, which I gotta tell you, like that tree you or whatever, like they gave them before they burned up, like obviously not doing the job. Like maybe you need to give it a little more time to kick in.
Oh, the feel no pain?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, he feels that.
He was feeling it.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
God, I mean, it's just, like I said, I think it's a great ending. It's super powerful. I think it's super meaningful. Like, brings everything together. Obviously, Danny now has a new home. She wins the chocolate factory. To end the Willy Wonka analogy, she's all good now. She has what she wants.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, though, that like basically, I mean, it's like it's a different take. She's like happy about it, but basically, the way the movie starts is the same way it ends. Mm-hmm. It's a big loss to Danny. Mm-hmm. And the second one is more of like she's kind of like pro, like she's okay with it. But at the end of the day, like the beginning of the movie is her losing her family. The end of the movie is her losing what she thought she had left, and I guess regaining a family. So it goes full circle there. Yeah. I like how it gets all tied back.
Plus, I wrote this down. I thought it was interesting that the movie starts with ice and ends with fire. I think that's really nice little.
Ooh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
it certainly does.
It's a little nerdy shit for you. Just nice little connection right there.
Okay, I mean,
so Midsommar. I mean, that's what we got. I mean,
is it Midsommar? I thought it was Midsummer.
See, I had this debate with myself for a very long time, but once I heard Aster said that it was Midsommar, that's when I was like, okay.
Well, if he says it, then yeah, there it is. Yeah, I guess it's Midsommar then.
Yeah. I think it's a really solid follow-up to Hereditary. I think a lot of us, after seeing Hereditary, are like, what's he gonna do next?
I can tell you exactly what he's going to do next because it just got announced, and that's what I wanted to talk about.
Ooh.
So, he is teaming up with the same guy who produced both of these movies, and he's teaming up with the studio that shot Parasite. And they're remaking a Korean cult classic. It's called Save the Green Planet. I need to see this before I see his version of it. The whole plot, just real vague, is this guy kidnaps, I forget how they're related, like what the relationship in the movie is, but he's kidnapped this guy basically because he wants answers to somebody's missing or something. He needs answers to something. And the whole movie is based on them torturing him and getting answers. And given how these movies are, like I said, I need to see the Korean version to see how messed up he's gonna go this time.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, our Aster, he's good at torture and stuff like that, so I think he'll be good.
Yeah, very.
I can, as someone who's watched both these movies, I can probably guarantee someone's gonna catch on fire.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Fair. Someone's gonna lose a head probably or smash their face in.
Something. Something like that. But also, I thought it was so interesting how, like, you watch Hereditary, you're like, okay, this guy really big on The Exorcist. You think he's gonna be like another James Wan type who like really loves like making ghost stories, stuff like that, like a haunted house movie, stuff like that. And then he like opens it all up. He goes immediately to daytime. He goes to a massive space instead of like this. I mean, Hereditary pretty much just takes place in that house.
Yes, definitely.
And then Midsommar is just like nature.
Yeah.
Like.
Just jump back to the movie just real quick. One thing that they do that's cool is right in the middle of the movie, once you've been in there, they just do a wide shot to show you that you're literally in the middle of nowhere. They just remind you real quickly that, oh, by the way, you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. It's like the only wide shot they do of the whole place, the whole movie.
Yeah.
They just jump right in the middle of it. They just show you, hey, there you go. And then they just bring you right back in. They never let you out.
Well, plus they even have like stuff outside that, like you gotta go up the cliff. Like, we don't really see how they get to the cliff or
It's
how
true.
the cliff is looking.
Yeah, because when you go to that wide, there's no cliffs even around. That's interesting, actually. Yeah, I wonder where the hell that cliff even is.
I don't see any trees around where the cliff is. So
yeah, you'd think you'd see a cliff like that.
It's a big cliff.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
A couple stories. Definitely a killer fall. So, like, you know.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
I'm pretty.
That's it?
Feels good to me, yeah. Okay. You got anything to say to the folks to sign off?
Well, just thanks for watching. You know, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
Beautiful, yeah.
That's all you need.
Definitely want feedback too. Like, tell us, give us movies you want us to review. Tell us, I don't know, just any sort of feedback. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Can you not stand my face? Just let me know. Just let us know. That's it. I think that's it.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Good stuff.